my hat and mean it.
I mean it. I like your hat.
You mean it. The boys are back.
What's
the
up?
boys are back. How we doing, everybody? Welcome to another episode of QBC Exchange.
Quarterback Center Exchange.
Woo! Exchange. We're ready for that. I don't know if you guys even caught that. All right. Well, welcome to the show, episode number 2 today. We're excited to talk to you guys. We're going to kick
our
things
second
off.
Anniversary. Great.
Second anniversry. Congratulations. I can't believe we made it 2, man.
Round of applause.
I thought we'd get canceled before 1. Welcome to the show. We promise there's going to be more than college football talk eventually, but this is the big week for college football. We've got the first round of the coaching carousel going around. We got conference championships to talk about.
And that's it.
And that's about it. But we've got a special surprise regarding the JV report at the end. Big announcement coming. But first, let's introduce ourselves to our quarterback once again, our quarterback, AJ.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'm glad I could be here today. Yes.
We're happy to have AJ here. He's such a thrill to be around all the time.
All the time.
Let's kick right off into the show. The last show we talked about Chip Kelly and where he would end up. Question's been answered. He's in UCLA. You're a little surprised he's going back to the Pac-12.
A little bit, I'd have to say. I am a little bit surprised. I thought he would have taken the Florida job, but apparently he likes it out in Los Angeles a lot better than he does down in Gainesville. So,
yeah, I mean, who wouldn't like LA better than Gainesville? Because Gainesville just sounds swampy.
Good one.
I get it. I get it. So speaking of Florida, they did hire their coach. They got the man that they were it seemed like they were after all along, Dan Mullen from Mississippi State. You surprised he made the move? And as well as, Mississippi State's still SEC. You surprised he made it within an SEC move?
No, I'm not surprised because this is one of the places that he had coached at before, and apparently it's like his dream job. So congratulations to him for getting it, and you know, it's good for the squad, good for the conference because it brings in another good coach. With Mississippi State getting their new head coach, which was announced I think today or yesterday, but I'll let you lead that one off. So.
Oh yeah, they did. I did put that note in. Joe Moorhead, Penn State offensive coordinator, served under James Franklin at Penn State, let Saquon Barkley get the yards that he had this year at offense. Joe Moorhead is officially the head coach at Mississippi State. That was finalized today. Good move for Mississippi State. I mean, I'm trying to think of any other potential candidates out there. I don't know too much about Joe Moorhead, but obviously with the Penn State offense has been rolling this year. Good move for Mississippi State.
I would say, hell yeah, this dude's got a lot of swag. I mean, I don't know. There was a report that I just read before we were on the air here that he held his first meeting today with the players, and the only thing that he asked them the first thing he asked them in the meeting is he asked all the players, he said, do you all know your ring size? Basically implying that they're going to win a SEC championship or a national championship in the very near future, which is good for college football because I think, you know, all the coaches that do the coaches talk where, you know, like – I don't want to name names, but like Urban Meyer, where all they talk about is, you know, the same stuff every week. You know, we got to get better. We got really good captains, good leadership. You know, guys that are kind of changing away from that wave and really trying to spark some interest are good for the game. So
I like it. I like the enthusiasm. I mean, he definitely brings some good offense with him. Saquon Barkley was really good at running back this year, and it's not like he was solely responsible, but at the same time, he's a good coach. He's a good offensively minded coach. Didn't really think Mississippi State would need to look for a coach, but hey, Dan Mullen's moving on. He's a job he wanted. Expectations for these 3 schools: UCLA, Florida, and Mississippi State. Who you got finishing high? Who you got finishing highest next season? And what are the expectations for each team?
The team that's going to do the best is going to be Mississippi State because they have the best team as it is. If you watch the Alabama game, they played that really close where it came down to the end when Alabama ended up winning that game. But I think Mississippi State has a lot of talent. They got Nick Fitzgerald coming back, who's their quarterback that broke his ankle last week against Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl. And then after that, I would say really it's a toss-up between UCLA and Florida. So I think they'll both be around 500. I wouldn't expect very many things coming out of those 2 schools in the first year next year.
Okay, even with Chip Kelly, who has very good experience at the college level.
Yeah, it's gonna. I mean, it's still gonna take more than just a coach. You got to get your own player. Well, you don't got to get your own players. You got to have time to develop the players and train the players, and that usually takes to get results. It usually takes about 2 to 3 years for coaches to get really the results where they're held to, the standards that they're held to. So,
you know what my favorite thing is Chip Kelly. I looked into this the other day. Chip Kelly is now currently under 3 contracts. He's with one with UCLA. He is still with one under the 49ers, and he is with one of the Eagles. I mean, the guy is just collecting money. I mean,
yep.
If it took just one season to go coach in the NFL for 2 different teams, or I'm sorry, 2 seasons coaching the NFL for 2 different teams, and then I could go be the offensive coordinator of Cardinal Stritch High School the rest of my life, that'd be great. I'm perfectly fine with that.
I'm pretty sure it's not how that would work if you were an NFL head coach. So, but whatever you say, Center.
You know how our centers operate. Let's talk about real quick. Let's touch on one coach who was hired, and then the shortest coaching stint we've ever seen in probably college football. Let's address the Greg Schiano situation down in Tennessee. A man's reputation is at stake here. We'll kind of try to borderline that. I mean, it's tough to talk about the whole situation. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer here. Describe how Tennessee handled that situation. I mean, their student body that you want to talk now. You
yes,
go
I
ahead.
do. You asked me a question.
All right, let's hear it.
Let's
hear your answer.
It's my turn to be in the spotlight.
Oh, the quarterback always wanting the ball in the spotlight. Oh, that's how it rolls.
Yeah, well, duh. Anyway, but on a serious note, Greg Schiano, I feel bad for that guy. I don't think he's a good coach at all. The only reason he got the job as the defensive coordinator at Ohio State was because he was a head coach at Rutgers, which he had a pretty decent career. And then he got hired by Tampa Bay to coach the Buccaneers for about 2 years, which was a complete disaster. But basically, based on his name, that's how he got his job in Ohio State, and then obviously he's passed at Penn State. But the way that Tennessee handled that by hiring him and then making an announcement about it, and then backing out of it was based on what they call public outcry, when it was just 5 people outside burning mattresses and in the light of day and saying, we don't want Schiano. I mean, come on, give me a break. But Tennessee's pretty spoiled, in my opinion, because that was probably one of the best coaches they could get unless they land Lane Kiffin somehow again, but I don't see that happening either. So
it's going to be tough to draw any sort of coach to that toxic environment that they have going now. Greg, you're probably right. Greg Schiano is probably their best bet. He took a garbage Rutgers team and made them mediocre. Right. He didn't have success in the NFL.
And he produced Ray Rice.
Oh, good, because that's what the world needs is more Ray Rice.
Whoa. One man making one mistake.
Innocent or guilty? Put you on the spot, Ray Rice.
Not answering that question. Just all I gotta say is, if you want to know the answer to that, I guess watch the video. I don't know. It's pretty ugly. So if it's not rated PG. It's not a PG video. So yeah.
I have not seen the video, but I actually look forward to watching that now.
No, you don't.
Okay, well, good. Just real quick, does Tennessee draw anyone after that, or have they pretty much kind of shot themselves in the foot with that?
Well, I've been hearing a couple of rumors about Mike Gundy. I don't know how that's going. He said apparently they offered Mike Gundy the job, and he's going to take some time to think about it for whatever that means, which probably means the mullet's staying as a Cowboy. But, to be honest, I think the best coach that they could get is either Lane Kiffin or somebody who's already a Tennessee man like Philip Fulmer or the offensive coordinator from USC, even though Philip Fulmer was already the coach, and I'm sure he probably wouldn't want to coach again. But we've already seen the guy that's coaching in Kansas State coach there like 6 different times. I forget what his name is, but he's like
Bill Snyder. You talking Bill Snyder?
Yeah, he's like 100 years old, and he's coached there like 30 different times. So,
well, let me tell you about the interim head coach they got right now.
All right,
they don't want the Greg Schiano. They might be. Wow.
Okay, wow. He was great at Michigan. Let's do that again. I said no.
Yeah, I agree. Let's keep him going. Mike Gundy tweeted out today the hashtag Cowboy for life. My gut is telling me he's turning down the job. He's going to stay at Oklahoma State. I don't know why you leave Oklahoma State. It's the SEC, but Tennessee's not that great of a job, in my opinion. To leave Oklahoma State for,
No.
I would not. No. Any other thoughts on Tennessee? If not, okay. I'm done talking to you, quarterback. We're gonna roll right into the next. We're gonna roll into the next batch of who's been let go already. It's about time Arkansas let go of Bret Bielema. I have never been a fan of him, even when he was at Wisconsin.
After 3 years?
I thought it was 4 seasons.
Whatever.
Was he 3?
He lost to Toledo, so what's the difference?
Exactly. He lost to Toledo. The worst team number 126 because the Falcons are team number 1.
Falcons.
Falcons.
Just so everybody
Kevin
knows, we're
Sumlin,
trying to keep this show to 10 minutes. It's probably not going that well, but
no, it's not. Kevin Sumlin out at Texas A&M. Personally, think he got treated fairly. Your thoughts?
I think Kevin Sumlin didn't deliver. You know, he had that run with Johnny Manziel where they were really good and they beat Alabama, and they ended up not making it to the SEC championship in any of the years he's been there. They always start out really hot, and then, you know, they start off 5-0, 6-0. They're ranked number 5, 6 in the country, and then they somehow always manage to end up 7-4, 8-4, 7-5. So I think it's well deserved. He's had enough time to get things done. He's been there for like 6, 7 years, so it's time to move on.
I agree. I part of me thinks he got treated unfairly, but the other part of me, I do agree with you. Another firing, another let go was Mike Riley out of Nebraska. Now, we partnered with a good friend of the show, Josh Roloff. He runs his own show called Backseat Sports. He's a good friend of the show. He's a good friend of mine. Graduated from Bowling Green together. He runs his own talk show, sports, about Nebraska football. Josh himself, Nebraska firing.
Wow, this is great audio. That's a nice microphone he has there. We should get one of those. I can't hear any audio. All right. Well, that was a good take. No, just post it in the description and people can watch it later.
Well, I apologize, Josh. I thought we could get you in. Basically, he says
we're having some technical difficulties in the studio.
Technical difficulties. Hello, technical difficulties here in our studio. Basically, Josh was on to say not a good fit from the beginning. He's not surprised Mike Riley was let go, but he named one person in particular who should be the lead candidate for the job.
Yeah, you're breaking up really well.
University of Central Florida coach Scott Frost is who he named as the lead candidate for Nebraska.
That's going to be a done deal here in a week and a half. So,
do you think so?
Yep.
Great take. Thanks for participating in the program.
You're welcome.
So Scott Frost, you heard it here first. He's the next head coach. Finally, Todd Graham out of Arizona State.
What about it?
He was fired. I didn't know if you had any takes like, surprise, not surprised.
I'm not surprised. Yeah. I'm not surprised. That's a school for what they're doing. I see that they're really, they're trying to become a national powerhouse and compete in the Pac-12 every year, and he just hasn't been able to do it. So,
Moving on to rumors now, because apparently AJ doesn't want to talk anymore. He's keeping that goal of under 10 minutes. So we'll head on over to rumors. We already addressed Mike Gundy. 99% likely he is not heading to Tennessee. One of the best rumors I heard, AJ brought to my attention today that I had not heard. Then I looked into it. The rumor is Herm Edwards for the Arizona State job. Herm Edwards, longtime ESPN broadcaster and NFL coach. Herm Edwards, what do you think?
I think it'd be great for college football. I love Herm Edwards, He's always trying to play to win the game. We play to win the game. And that's all you want in Arizona State right now, somebody who's trying to win the game. I did see, however, there was an interesting article that the athletic director was quoted in saying that he expects whoever the next head coach to be to keep on both the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator that are currently on staff, that were on staff this year under Todd Graham, which in my opinion doesn't make any sense. If you're going to make a coaching change, why are you going to make somebody and handicap them to have the two guys that were there the prior year, when obviously it probably wouldn't be somebody they want.
That's kind of sketchy in my opinion. That's a head coach's call, who he wants running his offense and who he wants running his defense. Not a fan of that. Don't like that's micromanaging, and not a fan of that. Speaking of coaches who want to win the game, I tell you what, man. Latest rumors for John Gruden. He's still going. He's not going anywhere. I tell you what,
he's going to be on that Monday Night Football. He's going to be doing Monday Night Football, man, for the next 25 years, man. Spider 2-eye banana. I love that play. Oh, man, Stafford is throwing that ball through a barnyard door.
Back to the barnyard door. I tell you what, man.
All right.
Until Jim Harbaugh leaves for his NFL job.
That's not happening. He's not going to Michigan.
Jim Harbaugh leaves for his NFL job.
Just stop.
Okay. Stop it. Any other sleeper candidates you want to talk about? Any other head coaches that might be missing? Because there are a lot of good openings still.
I don't think so at this time, man. There's nothing.
Okay, good. Thanks for your participation. We'll move on to the conference championship matchups. We're just going to get real quick into keys to win the game, and we're going to predict these champions, except because AJ will not predict the ACC championship because, Miami's in it. I don't want to curse Miami. Yeah, let's get that sour face up there again. There it is. Pac-12 football kicks off Friday night at 8 o'clock. That Pac-12 championship is USC versus Stanford. Number 10, USC. Number 12, Stanford. Who wins, and how do they win?
Well, I think that Stanford's actually going to win this game as a surprise to probably everybody. But they have the better running game, and I think they have the better defense, and it's going to be the first team to get to 17 points that's going to win this football game.
Any of them make the playoffs if they win?
No.
Didn't think so. Moving on to the Great American Conference of Memphis, number 20 Memphis, and number 14 UCF. Does UCF keep up their perfect record?
Yep. Their biggest shot to lose was last week against South Florida. Memphis just doesn't have the talent on defense to stop UCF. UCF has enough talent to get the job done, so I think UCF is probably going to win by 3 touchdowns.
Does UCF hop into the playoffs?
No.
I didn't think so. Moving on to the MAC championship. We got University of Akron, University of Toledo facing off at Ford Field in Detroit Saturday at noon. You can catch that one on ESPN. AJ, who wins that one?
Toledo.
That's all you got to know, folks. Toledo wins that one.
You know it.
Does either of them, to win or that, make it to the playoffs?
No.
Moving on. Moving on. Because this is a good thought. This is a good one. Big 12 championship. Number 3, Oklahoma, already in the playoffs. They have to do it now. And number 11, TCU. Who wins that game Saturday, 12:30 on Fox?
You know, I've been going back and forth on this one in my head. I think I'm going to have to go with Oklahoma just because TCU doesn't seem to show up in the big game over the last couple of years. And they've got a really good defense. I just don't know if they'll be able to stop that quarterback they have over there at Oklahoma, whatever his name is.
Baker Heisman?
Baker Mayfield, yeah.
Baker Mayfield. If TCU does pull off the win, do they sneak into the playoffs?
Nope. But it'll knock Oklahoma and the Big 12 out. So
let's go to the SEC championship. An SEC championship without Alabama. We have got Georgia going against Auburn. Who wins this one?
I'm going with Auburn just because of how handily they beat Georgia. I know a lot of people argue that because it was at home that, nobody could win in that environment, which was proven when Auburn beat Alabama too. But, I mean, they still won 41-8. So I don't know how you can say they're not going to win at this point in the way they beat Alabama. So
I agree. I do think Auburn's one of the best teams in college football right now. I think they are the best. They should be number 1 over Clemson.
No, they shouldn't. They got 2 losses, and they lost to Clemson.
Agree to disagree. No.
What do you mean?
I take that back. I apologize. I don't know why I said Auburn. I think Oklahoma is the number 1 team in the nation right now.
I can go with that. That's fine.
But speaking of Clemson, I just got so excited talking about Clemson. We got Clemson versus Miami in the ACC Championship. You can catch that one Saturday, 8 o'clock on ABC. AJ's not going to pick a winner, but what does each team have to do to win?
Well, Clemson has to run the ball, complete their passes, and play average defense because, in all honesty, Miami's offense isn't that good. And for Miami to win, they got to keep this game low scoring. Like, it's got to be 10-10 at halftime. The final score needs to be somewhere around 24-21, 2017, and they need to get 2 or 3 turnovers in the process and run the ball way more than they have been over the last 3 weeks.
Winner of that game automatically in?
Yes.
Finally, we've got Ohio State versus Wisconsin. That one you can catch Saturday, 8 o'clock on Fox. AJ, who's winning that?
As much as people want Wisconsin to win, I really don't think it's going to happen just because they haven't played anybody up to the level that Ohio State has. I mean, Ohio State's played teams like Oklahoma, Penn State, and they beat Penn State. They lost to Oklahoma at home, which wasn't a good loss for them, but I think Ohio State's better even if JT Barrett doesn't play.
Even if JT Barrett doesn't play. Wow,
and Wisconsin's had the same quarterback for the last 20 years. Whether it's been whoever's the quarterback now, it's just a 6-foot-tall white guy that hands the ball off every play. So,
who's that quarterback? Is it Van Wilder?
I don't know. I bet you he's 6 feet tall and he's white. So, and he's wearing number 16 probably.
Ohio State wins. Are they in the playoffs?
The only way they get in is if Oklahoma loses to TCU. And one of the ACC, well, I can't even say that. It's really only if Oklahoma loses to TCU, they have a shot at it. And that's going to be in consideration of Alabama's probably going to get a good look too, and they would probably put Alabama in before they would put Ohio State in.
I would agree with that. I think because Ohio State has 2 losses, Alabama only has 1, and it's 2.
Wow, that was a good take. Stop, you're breaking up. Just stop. Take a second. You're breaking up. You're breaking up. You're breaking up.
What do you mean you're breaking up?
You're breaking up on my end. Maybe you're not on your end, but sure.
I don't hear myself breaking up. We got a special announcement from the JV report, and here it comes. So even though we've been hard at work on the site, feedback we got on the post that we want to take a step further. So,
holy cow!
I just wanted. Oh my gosh! So we went ahead and got the domain name, we got the domain right for JV report. The JV report. You can see the top of the screen. If you type in the JVReport.com in your browser search, this will pop up. You can go ahead and click Facebook. Or YouTube, and you just scroll down, you can see our story. We've got Berkeley from Bret Bielema's mission to check out all 120 Division I college football stadiums. So he does for him. AJ, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Do you have any final thoughts on board?
Thanks for having me. And if anybody didn't understand any of that like me, he's got a new website. It's called thejvreport.com. He purchased the domain, so check it out on the internet thing, whatever that is.
On the internet. We'll catch you guys next week.